fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
After hearing about the news that has happened recently in Christchurch, we here at SimSpeed TV would like to pay our respects to the victims that have tragically passed away. A senseless incident and one that could have so very easily have been avoided. We here at SimSpeed would like to share our condolences with the families and everyone who has been involved with the incidents that have happened today. But here at Oran Park, this is where racing goes from the past and brings it into the present. A track that does not exist in the real world, but one that will forever live in the annals of sim racing history. This track, 2.61 kilometers, 12 turns worth of racing, and this is where the Australian Online Supercar Series, brought to you, of course, by Mazda, is now here looking at qualifying at the moment. Time in sim is just heading towards 3 o'clock. Track conditions at the moment have cooled right down to a modest 31 degrees here out on track. So it's a cool one here for qualification at the moment. But these supercar drivers are all looking to put the best time they possibly can in. It's Jake Sperry here in the commentary booth, joined alongside with Jay Kennedy. And Jay, the big worry is traffic as Jacob Knight has a 3-car pile-up and he gets caught in his own little incident that happens on the outside of 2.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's a really tough track at the best of times, but 50 V8 supercars out on track is always going to be chaos. So getting a time in as early as you can is going to be so crucial, and the pre-qualifying times were very, very tight. TTL Esports look like they are the benchmark for tonight as well, so it's going to be interesting to see if the team on screen at the moment, Evolution Racing Team, led by Jared Filsell, making an appearance tonight. See if these guys can shuffle up the field and make a little bit of a surprise in this race.
Well, we'll see, but there's traffic on the exit. Oh, and that there was, I believe it was Harley Haber who spins it in the middle of the road, and that wasn't planned, and very much so has to get going and start again. It's a very difficult pit road because it comes out right on the racing line into turn number 2. So you have to effectively jump out of the way very quickly, and there's not much time to make that happen as it's Myers followed by Suzlin Harlow and then Haber in 3rd position. Jack Boyd is currently 4th with Dean O'Brien running at the top 5 for One Performance Racing. But there is 20 minutes worth of time to get that qualifying lap in. And not only that here today, Jay, but of course, they've got themselves, when the buzzer stops at 20 minutes, they've got until the end of their lap to finish off their lap.
Yep, make sure they get out on track and on their flying lap just before the clock hits 0. And make sure they've got enough time on the clock as Filsell puts in the fastest lap in this session. Great lap from him for 8. So he jumps to the top of the timesheets, and going to be really tough for anyone to get laps in because there's so much action happening out on track and cars getting hit coming through turn 1. It's going to be chaos in this one as Brady Myers goes to start a lap.
Yep, and the 22 of Brady Myers looking to make some headway in the championship. And let's get the championship graphic up then on your screen, because it is a certain Mr. Carl Stokes who finds himself in control of the championship, 1,285 points compared to the 1,219 of Jordan Ross, both parts of the Evolution Racing team. It's Pursuit Sim Racing in third with Michael Taliancic, Michael Cracknell currently fourth with Harley Haber in fifth position in the championship at the moment. Top five split by just 160 odd points, and Jack Boyd and Marlon McMullen are both in the 1,100 bracket as well. 7 looking to fight for the championship. 7 here, Jay, which are all looking for big results around probably what is a V8 staple, that you could say on calendars.
Yeah, 100%. It's the one track that you see in pretty much every V8 calendar, along with Phillip Island and Mount Panorama at Bathurst. Brady Myers does not improve as the sun comes out. Track temp has gone up by 5 degrees in the 5 minutes we've been in qualifying so far. So incredibly hot out on track now the sun has come out. It's going to be tough to see any times really improve. Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, though, is on a flyer, and we'll see if he can improve.
Yep, number 15 is still looking for his first Scop start of the year, but he's not finding it at the moment. So here in AOSC, he looks to try and find a bit of form, and this is an important track as well, because within 2 weeks, or shall I say within about 8 days, we'll be heading back to Oran Park for round 3 of the V8 Scops Championship. A very important round indeed, and Suzlin-Harlow is hoping for a chance here to really start making the runs. You look a little bit further down the field, the rest of your top 10 up on your screen. You've got Jordan Ross in 5th, Jack Boyd's now down to 6th, Dean O'Brien's 7th, Andrew Gilliam is 8th, Michael Cracknell's 9th, and Daniel Williams 10 is in number 10. We've also got Brian Borg 11th, and the championship leader Carl Stokes is only managed 12th position at the moment on a 1:05.6, so clearly the 888, it is not the track that he likes at the moment, and is currently not out on there setting a flying lap. We'll probably be waiting maybe just to see if that track will cool off just a little bit more. This is effectively the gamble that they're seeing here, Jay. Waiting on the weather, waiting for some good times to come in, but you have to think as well, setup changes on the fly.
Yeah, you need to be really smart about how you play the car setup and understand that the track will evolve, and of course 50 cars on this track for the race. The race is going to be so crucial, and keeping out of trouble is going to be so difficult, as we see Marlon McMullen on screen, newly privateer, and he's just run off the track and into the fence. So he's finding it difficult out there, a long way down from where we would normally expect. Currently P13. The championship contender, Stokes and McMullen, those two, and also Taliancic will be looking to make a huge inroad when it comes time for the race.
They certainly will, and those drivers who are maybe a little bit further down here in this sprint will have a bit of time here to try and make some positions and get some moves done, but this is not the track where moves are very easily found here today, Jay. This is one of those circuits where there isn't necessarily too many overtaking opportunities, not really many runs to go out there and attack another driver. You've only got that run into 1 and 2, really. That's the main overtaking opportunity. Anything short of that is just trying to prize away open and hope for a mistake.
Yeah, well, that or making sure you play a smart strategy game. As we're about to watch Brian Borg finish his flying lap, but he unfortunately has hit the wall. Interesting now, the cloud cover is starting to come back over the track. The southern end of the circuit is now fully in cloud, so that will start to increase the lap times once again, as the track temp now up to 40 degrees. It's gone up so quick in this session so far, as Taliancic, the only one of our lead drivers at the moment, on a flying lap.
Yes, and Michael Taliancic is looking to try and really push the 777 on a little bit further, going through the S's section, turn 6, 7, and then into, turn 9 at the moment. Then you've got 10 and 11 here, the right-left chicane, which is mighty quick, and all over the curb he goes. Slight wiggle there on the outside, missing the Rhino Sullivan wall on the right-hand side after last year's Scops event. And around the final corner goes Taliancic into this incredibly one-line Suitsel narrow pit road, which he balks and gets wrong because he smacked the inside pit wall there, and how very easy it is to get it wrong. And you've only got really one chance to make it happen going on to the pits. Any more than that, day done.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a pit entry that is so crucial. It's so tough to get right. And the harder bit too is that Daniel Williams was looking really strong there and absolutely out of control coming up through the final section of track. We'll go to Jack Boyd next, finishing his flying lap. But the pit entry is probably tougher if you are the lead car in a train and you want to pit first. It's very, very easy to get hit from behind, like we saw at Montreal. Boyd in the fence as well. Everyone's struggling with these track temps at the moment. Yeah, he's full on rolled it. Wasn't expecting
Full on
that.
rolled up on the banking, and these track temperatures are very, very difficult to get right, and drivers are looking at every which way to try and make something work for them, but ultimately they're not finding too much. Let's look a little bit further down the order. It's a 48 car grid here for this one, and drivers up and down are going to be looking for good opportunities here today, including the 555 machine at the moment, currently in 40th position right now. This is Gavin Cox looking to try and make a run to the line, and can he find maybe an inch or two further? No, he doesn't. It's a 107.1, and of course Cox will have to try and stay behind in 40th right now, and will probably be looking for maybe 10 positions in this race.
Yep, he'll be looking to make a big move through the field in his 555. We'll go to Jamie McKnight on a flying lap in the Logitech G Evolution Racing Team car. He'll be really disappointed with his current qualifying performance back in 26th position. He'll be looking for 15 or so more spots from where he is at the moment.
Of course he will. Jamie McKnight has been one of those drivers that has been looking to push that initiative and move up the field. Hasn't had the best of starts this year. Has been in second split V8 Scops Racing for the first 2 rounds. That's not often what we expect out of him, but Jamie McKnight currently in 26th, will not go any quicker. 106.8 that last time by 7/10. The track has got slower. That's how difficult it is to find times, and you have to say you got to be one of the greatest drivers in the world to find any more time at the moment, with 8 minutes to go over the course of this one. Let's not forget that this race is not a straight finish to the end. Of course, there is one random caution that comes out at any given point in time, Jay, and that's going to be the big spanner that we see in the works.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to really mix up when the drivers decide to pit. It'll change the way that the drivers approach this race. Guy Leach, that's a huge hit in the wall. He was looking to attempt that pit entry, and he's just absolutely clobbered the wall very, very hard. We'll go to Cameron Gall next. Still on a flying lap. A few drivers still trying to put in flying laps back in the bottom half of this field, trying to improve on their times, but it is so difficult out there at the moment. See how sideways everyone is getting as soon as they put the power down.
They are knowing that they have to be really good in the way that they turn through a couple vehicles here and there, and they turn through a couple corners, actually, I should say, and they've got to have a really dynamic setup that works very well at carrying that mid-corner speed. If they don't have that, then they've got no real opportunity. Sam Spade in the 251 in 20th position at the moment is full on bore sideways through turn 11, and even more full on bore sideways through 12. Get the Tokyo on, boy. And he decides he's going to pull it over and not do any more, but that is proper sideways action, and that's what they won't be hoping that they're going to find over the course of the racing today here, Jay.
Yeah, they won't be wanting to burn up these Dunlops too early, because the Dunlops do wear quite aggressively at this track anyway, so the hot track conditions will really be playing havoc on when these guys do take their pit stops, when they do decide to take the lunge into the pits. It is our longest race this season in this format in regards to lap numbers, being 57 laps at the 150 kilometre mark. So it's going to be a tough ask for these drivers, and no chance to really rest around this circuit as well. So fatigue is going to be a real factor for some of these drivers tonight as well.
This is a race filled with concentration factor, and you've got to be right on it, knowing that you need to be absolutely 100% hyper-focused to make this one work today. And talking of drivers who need to be hyper-focused, talk about the 201 of Andrew Gilliam. Here's a driver in the Race on Oz car who has really shocked a lot of people in the way that he has been... Sorry, the Pursuit Sim Racing car. I keep doing it. The Pursuit Sim Racing car. He's been so good over the last month, and without any real conversation about him at all, he's sort of popped up and gone, oh, hello, don't forget me. I'm a driver who can absolutely blast it around a circuit, and he's proving it right now inside the top 10.
Very quickly gone to be the #1 driver at Pursuit Sim Racing. Always thought Taliancic would be the #1 driver at that team, but he's well and truly jumped ahead of Taliancic in the last month and a half. So going to be one to watch in the next 3 or 4 months. He's a real contender to win the official title starting Monday night, and also to be one of those surprise packets later on in the V8 Scop season as well.
Oh, definitely. And of course, this season certainly does hold trials, tribulations, and anyone looking to try and find some points, they need to try and score them as quickly as they possibly can. For other drivers, though, like Jared Filsell, for example, he won't be worried about points at all. He's in this one for one thing and for one thing only, and that is to get some very vital practice in today, Jay. Of course, for V8 Scops and trying to maintain a championship, especially after the fact that after post-race regulations on Monday, or whenever it was, I think it was yesterday even that those came in, he's lost the lead of the championship.
Yeah, he's back to 4th, I believe, in the championship. So he'll be looking to make some inroads in to the V8 Scops Championship. So he'll be in here tonight to get a little bit of extra practice in anticipation for the round of V8 Scops here in 2 weeks' time. And we'll be looking forward to getting out there on track with some drivers that he will probably be battling quite hard in V8 Scops, like Brady Myers and Jackson Susan Harlow, who are both looking forward to getting out there on the track at Oran Park. It would be great to see Jackson Susan Harlow out there on track for the first time this season. It'd be interesting to see what he can do as well, along with Brady Myers and a few of the other teams out there also looking to make inroads into the fight for the championship that ERT seem to have a little bit of a stranglehold at the moment.
They certainly do, the likes of Ethan Griggault and also Ian Ford, along with Cooper Webster, Jared Filsell and co. They are all drivers who can go out there and really put on some great performances, and they are the V8 team to beat at the moment, and there's not much that anyone can really argue against that right now. But there are a few drivers here who are looking for good lap times at the moment. Wayne Pengilly in the 222. He's in 34th position right now, 1 position behind the hyperdrive car of Tom Freer. And well, Wayne's got to find something, because in Wayne's world, it may be a snap-on back down on his bonnet, but he's going to look and try and push for another little lap here, see if he gets something going. 1:07.1. The track is now almost a second slower.
It's getting really, really tough out there now. The track has cooled off in the last 3 or 4 minutes, around about 5 degrees, due to quite a large group of drivers not on the circuit. Pretty much 80–90% of our top 10 weren't on the track. So quite a few have decided that they're done, or they'll wait for the track to cool off a little bit. Our 48 drivers have all put in times, but it is getting very, very tough out there for quite a large portion of the field.
The driver who is in dead last at the moment in terms of times is probably the most surprising one of the lot here at the moment, Jay, and that is, of course, the Evolution Racing team boss, Brenton O'Brien.
He won't be too happy with you saying that either. He's actually in the YouTube chat at the moment also, so he will be very, very upset that you've brought up that he is in last position. We'll see how long it takes for a comment from him.
Well, if he's upset that he's in last position, then only he will have the ability to change that, and that is simply the fact of life at the moment. But
I do believe he's only done 1 lap, so we might let him off.
No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. Let you off after only doing 1 lap? No, you go and do quicker laps. That's the way it works. But we are in that 1 minute more warning at the moment, Jay, and now it's about final lap times. Can you get something in, and can you get something working as Jordan Ross heads himself through what I like to call the Sperry-drome section, having a massive moment coming off of 2.
And he won't be able to get another lap in now either. He was looking to set himself up to get to the line right on cue, as Jackson Susan Harlow did cross the line perfectly to get a lap done Michael Cracknell is on a flyer, but this will be his last chance. See if he can move up this top 10. Currently in ninth with a 5.4 is his lap time. Doesn't need too much to gain a spot though, only needs to find 0.06 of a second, not much at all, to jump ahead of Andrew Gilliam.
It seems like a world away though when the track is this difficult at the moment. 3 seconds to go as Cracknell's up and over in the KRF Zuva car, and that will be that for him. Nenadic will make a way to the line. Can he find something? He does a 106.3, so he can't quite get what he wants. Dean O'Brien currently 7th position at the moment. Has he got what he wants? No, he does not, so he will not set flying lap time as Gilliam dives onto the lane, as does Brady Myers. Scott Gamble, though, he will look to try and find a lap, and he does not go any quicker. He just actually set his quickest lap on that last lap going, which is very, very impressive from him. Greg Sharp dives down onto lane now. Jet Bennett is the next vehicle looking for a time. Currently in 44th position and hoping for something.
How's that?
In the that's not bad at all. 44 in the 444 and will remain in that 444 position as Sam Spade goes on to lane. Then you got Jonathan Ben, Zach Radatz and Jack Boyd. Boyd's using all of the draft here, trying to get this run to the line, and well, that's a nothing at the moment. A nothing from Jack Boyd. That's not part of the plan. James Scott's been pretty good in the championship so far. He's looking to try and find something too. And ultimately, he's going to get himself to the line. And he will do himself a nothing as well. Everyone's over the line and completed. The grid is as follows. So it's number 1, Jared Filsell on the pole position with Brady Myers alongside. Jackson Suzlan Harlow starts from 3rd with Harley Haber in 4th. Jordan Ross and Jack Boyd are on row number 3. Row 4 sees Dean O'Brien and Andrew Gilliam, with row 5 Michael Cracknell and Daniel Williams.
We've got Brian Borg and Kyle Stokes on row 6 with Mullen McMullen and Michael Taliancic looking to make their way forward from row 7. Row 8, Greg Sharp, Zach Baker, then we've got David Nednick and also Stephen Varga with Jacob Knight and Sam Spade rounding out the top 20.
Cameron Gall and James Scott are 21st and 22nd. Mark Pickett then with Adam Gardner. Daniel Stevens, Jamie McKnight a little down the order with Luke Page and Guy Leach. Stuart Coulter starts this one from 29th with Matthew Deere in 30th.
Then we've got Zach Radatz and Shane Evans on the 16th row with Matthew Clote. Scott Gamble next, Wayne Pengilly, Tom Freer with Daryl Hockey, Tyler Blackburn, Ryan Jones and Matt Lapoitovan rounding out the top 40.
Gavin Cox is 41st with Mark Samuel, the team boss of Redback Racing, in 42nd. Then you got Christopher Kessie. Definitely not a good qualifying by him, and he should be doing better in 43rd with Jet Bennett alongside. Tony Gaffer, Jonathan Ben, Simon Vella, and Brenton O'Brien, team boss of Evolution Racing Team, with a world of work to do over the course of this one. But number 1 is at the front of this field, and it doesn't matter where he is the number 1 of. He is the number 1 driver in this qualification session as we now get ourselves ready for racing action of 57 laps here at Oran Park Raceway. And Brady Myers, Suzlan Harlow are looking to bring TTL into the mix here against Evolution Racing Team. Redback Racing are looking strong as well, and let's not forget the GRM car of Jack Boyd looking to make some pushes. But green flag drops, and we are instantly underway. Philso gets a very slow start then from the front, and that's surprising. Brady Myers will push every step of the way to turn number 1. Big defences as they go into that section, and look at that outside track from Philso. Has he pushed it a little bit too deep? No, he's just so much better on the brakes. Is he going to get a shove, though, from Myers? Yes, he is, and Myers is trying to find a way through, but all of a sudden, here comes Haber straight into the gravel, trying to keep himself together. He sneaks away down the inside, and he's up to 2nd.
Great job from Harley Haber. He didn't let Brady Myers push him around, and that was really, really good from him to see that he wasn't willing to let Brady Myers push him around. Brady is a bit stunned by that. Have a look at the aggressiveness from Harley Haber. He is applying a lot of pressure right now.
Well, it's the young Harley Haber against the equally as young but veteran Jared Filsell right now. So currently, arguably the best driver in the world, as there is a big crash back in the field. You're absolutely right on that one, Jay. It's involved Matthew Deere in the KRF car, and so many more, and that's right on the bridge as we get a LeBlanc instant replay and see exactly what has happened here. And it was too wide they were going up into that section. There was a tap there from Deere the first time round, and there's a spin just in front of the hyperdrive car of Christopher Kessie. That's Scott Gamble, who ultimately hits sixes and does not get what he wants. But there's another little mini incident there, and oh my goodness me.
That's a heavy hit in the wall, and then the field's just checked up from that point, and Shane Evans also involved. Gavin Cox also involved there, and that's just unfortunate with the bridge being as narrow as it is. There's no running off the circuit at the bridge. We come back live. Harley Haber is applying a lot of pressure on Jared Filsell right now.
He was actually side by side heading to turn number 3, which is maybe the only other overtaking opportunity on track. So clearly Haber's got a vehicle that works, and let's not forget, it's a Harley Haber and a red back setting that often works better as time goes by. So let's not forget that one for the moment. Harley looking aggressive now is a massive worry for Jared Filsell later. Look a little bit further down this massive elongated train, which actually I'd say stops at Jacob Knight. It's a 17-car train at the front of the field as drivers look to try and get themselves back out and going again. Tyler Blackburn will be a lap down in just a moment. Little bit of contact there. That's Dean O'Brien trying to find a way past Jordan Ross. That's for 5th position at the moment, and he's sideways down the inside. One performance block pass. My word, what a move!
Former teammates, there'll be a bit of rivalry between these two, and very ambitious from O'Brien, but he got it to work, somehow pulled it up. Great move, but Harley Haber, he is applying so much pressure right now.
He is, but that's all he can do, as Blackburn will have to get out of the way of the entirety of the train as quickly as possible. Filsell will not be happy at the fact that this is a long waiting game, and oh my word.
How sideways was Harley Haber there? 2 rear wheels in the dirt and still maintain traction and still maintain the gap. May still have a run on Filsell here. What an amazing first 3 laps.
What a great first 3 laps we've had here at Oran Park, and they've gone by in 3 minutes and 23 seconds as they make their way into turn number 1, which I think is Filsell's biggest strength at the moment here. Out on track, the top 4 are now starting to break away a little bit, and that's Myers and Suzanne Harlow who will both want to get in. Jordan Ross under pressure now. Here's Andrew Gilliam looking down to the inside, but he's not going to be able to find anything. Nice narrow line from Jordan Ross, defending the position nicely there as they now make a big lunge into 4. Gilliam doors him and sends him almost off the circuit, and Jack Boyd's going to try and sneak away through up over Yokohama Bridge, and he's not quite there, is he? Well, he's got the inside for the next section, but the next 2 lefts are always going to favour a certain Mr. Ross, but he's not going to find anything, and now all of a sudden here's the Bryborg looking to try and find himself maybe cross-continental to make a position.
Amazing that Jordan Ross looks rattled. It's the first time.
Here we go down the inside.
Another spot.
Oh, it's close, but look at that traction off the exit there, using the banking that is there at the final corner here at Oran Park to get that position sorted. Borg will now have to slip his way into the draft, and he's done very well at this stage to make sure that he keeps himself in check as they make their way into 1, and again, very, very close on the brakes. Let's just look a little bit further down the order here, because you got a nice couple of little battles going on. Here's Adam Gardner looking to sneak down the inside. Nope, there's contact there. Gardner on Daniel Stevens. Stevens will drop 2 positions for his troubles, and that was a little bit naughty there from Gardner, who missed his braking point.
We'll get a quick LeBlanc replay and see if we can pick that up. Brady Myers is slowly closing that gap back to Harley Haber. We'll go to that in just a moment, but yeah, I think you're right there. It's a little bit ambitious from Gardner, who was well and truly going to miss the apex if Daniel Stevens wasn't there to work as a little bit of an extra break for him.
Yeah, and that sometimes is what we call not nice around here, and drivers often are discouraged from using other drivers as a brake. Right now, Brian Borg, though, from all the pace that he was looking to have, he suddenly lost it all, because Michael Cracknell now is all over this one in the battle for the top 10. Cracknell battling hard for the championship in the KRF Zuva car, is looking for something against the likes of a Jordan Ross and the likes of, say, a Kyle Stokes. And let's not forget, Kyle Stokes has not gone forward here in this event. He's gone backwards. He's dropped 2 positions over the course of this one. One of them was to Zach Baker, and the other one, of course, to Marlon McMullen, who's making positions up through the field. So this has not been here today, so far, Jay, a Kyle Stokes performance that we've expected.
It looks like something in regards to the ERT setup that is possibly not working with these high track temperatures. So notice the only driver from ERT that looks like he's maintaining position is Phil Sell. But Jordan Ross dropped positions. You've got Kyle Stokes, as you said, dropped positions. Jamie McKnight's also dropped 3 positions. So it's looking like their car just isn't really suited to the way that the track has evolved and is behaving in this race.
That is very, very true, but all of a sudden, Jared Filsell's got himself a little bit of a gap. That gap is 4.5 tenths of a second down into turn number 1 once again, and there's trouble with the traffic. Oh, Suslan Harlow does well to avoid it, and that was Gavin Cox all over the place, and that very nearly got messy with Cox.
That was a little bit scary, and I must say that Jackson Suslan Harlow will probably have to come in for a change of driver's suit when he comes in for his compulsory pit stop in the next little while, because Gavin Cox probably was just watching what the guys in front were doing, and so easy to make a mistake through turns 1 and 2 at this circuit. Well done by Jackson Suslan Harlow to not make contact there. We come back live from our LeBlanc replay. Brady Myers is applying a lot of pressure on Harley Haber.
Yes, but Haber knows he doesn't have too much he needs to worry about, as there was some very contrasting lines through that section. Harley Haber not on any curbs at all through that left-right. Brady Myers was all over them, as now all of a sudden Haber starts to struggle ever so slightly. This gives Brady Myers the chance to look down to the inside, but Myers is not going to find it at all. On the brakes into the left-hander of turn 2, nothing yet, but looking to try and open up the corner and get 3 down the inside, and there's the late lunge down through, and there, nice block as well, bit of contact between them, and that is Brady Myers now back into second.
Yep, there'll be no love lost between these two. That's twice they've made contact in both passing manoeuvres between these two cars, so these guys are going to get a little bit more spicy as the race goes on, I think. I think this is not the end of this battle.
It's not the end of the battle at all, and Brady Myers knows it, but they can't afford to let Jared Filsell pull away. Here is a driver who has been so dominant when he takes races from the very front, and both drivers, Filsell and Haber, all over the curb, so much so that they were getting a little bit of grass as well with it as they were trying to go through. As now Brian Borg gets under pressure, trying to pick a pocket there is Michael Cracknell, and can he, like the Artful Dodger, pick a pocket or two? At the moment, he just does not have the straight line, but so much easier on the brakes there. Big lift there from Brian Borg, who's going to come up and under, trying to take the position away, and it's not going to work. Nice effort, but didn't quite happen.
Great move from Cracknell to take advantage. Well done from Borg to try and come back through as Greg Sharp off at turn 2 in the Stealth Simforce car, and there's a little bit of a big witness mark in the door. There's another car around, that's Stuart Coulter around, and there was another car involved there too. I think that was Daryl Hockey. I think we need another look at that to see, firstly, how Greg Sharp ended up as far off the circuit as he did, because there's a lot of damage on that car.
Yeah, there is, and well, Greg Sharp making his way through with a LeBlanc instant replay right now up on your screen for you. So this is where it all went wrong, in towards turn number 1. Bang! Oh, my word, that's a huge accident for the 747, and Sam Spade can run off away, and well, you can dig yourself your own grave. And then Coulter gets in a separate incident with one of the ERT cars. That was Jamie McKnight, and well, that one didn't really help too much. Back, though, to the front of the field. Harley Haber's under pressure. Jackson Suslan Harlow has caught his way back up, and he's going to try and look down to the inside at turn number 3. Oh, there's contact. Haber manages to hold it together, but they're going to cost themselves time at the moment. Suslan Harlow's down the inside at turn 4, and they're side by side up the hill as they make their way to Yokohama Bridge, and Haber will not back off, will not give an inch, but at the moment LeBlanc has to, and that is now 2 TTL cars on the podium.
Yeah, good move from Jackson Suslan Harlow to get through there. Yeah, it did make a little bit of contact to force Haber a little bit wide, but that was a nice setup from Susan Harlow. I'm sure Race Control will look at that one post-race, though, as there was contact involved. Every bit of contact is reviewed in this series, so Brady Myers looking really quick. Have a look at the time difference, 0.4 of a second quicker that lap by.
And Jared Filsell does not have the pace at the moment, and it's very telling because even the likes of 8th position at the moment have been closing in. Brady Myers is all over the back and gives him a tap to boot, and now Jared's getting a wake-up call from who can really challenge him from TTL. He's got a lot of work to do in the next week or so at the moment because, yes, he's leading this race, but not in the way that Jared Filsell traditionally does lead those sorts of races. And again, Brady Myers is just searching all over the place at Australia's Monaco, looking for an opportunity to go and make a move. And now this is bringing in Suzanne Harlow and Haber and Dean O'Brien and Gilliam and Boyd and Ross. Top 8 at the moment, split by 3 seconds, and they're line astern.
Yeah, this is not normal Jared Filsell driving at the moment. He looks very, very uncomfortable. The car does not look like it's behaving how he would like it. And you can just tell he's struggling. He's just struggling for drive off the corner, struggling for mid-corner. Looks like not much is working for him, except for the braking performance into turn 1 and 2. That is the only section of track he looks really strong at the moment.
That's the only section of track that he needs to look strong at the moment, as Dean O'Brien's now going to give a tap there to young Harley Haber, and that's not going to be very helpful in the long and short of things, but they're all now got to be careful about tripping up all over each other because very easily they can get 3-4 cars in an instant here at Oran Park. Here's Marlon McMullen in the 85 trying to get by Brian Borg, who struggles off the exit. Straight down the inside goes McMullen looking for the overtake, and he's just about managed it as he goes through. Borg's going to try and go up and under, but he's going to run out of road. And now here comes the championship leader, Carl Stokes, onto the scene.
Yep, we're going to go back to the front, though, because Brady Myers closed that gap into under 0.2 of a second for the first time. This is the first time that Filsell has really felt...
Oh, Dean O'Brien! Wow! Another worldie from one performance as O'Brien sends it through on a certain Harley Haber. But look at the battle for the race lead. 1, 2 and 3 all there together trying to find this opportunity. Again, nothing here on lap 13 here at 57. Mandatory caution coming in. Andrew Gilliam gets down the inside but gets a massive bit of oversteer off the exit. This will allow Haber back down the inside at turn number 3. And here comes Jack Boyd trying to sneak in, and he gives him a tap to boot. And Jordan Ross is going to say thank you as well.
I think there's a little bit of damage on Harley Haber's car because he's just lost so much pace in the last 4 or 5 laps. Don't be surprised to see him be one of the early pitters. Pit window opens around about lap 18 or 19.
Yeah, there's damage.
So, yeah, he's really struggling at the moment. So he might come in early and hope that the safety car works in his favour, get a bit of damage fixed. But Brady Myers is looking so strong at the moment.
He certainly is. It's all about Brady at the moment. He has been on it in the last few months. He has been racing pretty much anywhere he possibly can in a V8, and he has proven that he's 9 times out of 10 winning in a V8, and that much is very true. The one place he hasn't been amazing at so far this year is V8 Scops, funnily enough, but it's here in AOSC where he tries to stamp his ground, and at the moment, close, but again, not quite finding everything that's needed at the moment. The track again begins to cool once more as those tyres will get a little bit of respite. But look at all of this battling. Look at what it's doing. It's allowing Michael Cracknell in on the mix. And this is what drivers, I think, are a little bit worried about. They're thinking about this championship, where the top 7 in the championship all have a legitimate shot of moving to the top. Jordan Ross is currently 2nd in the championship, but highest placed at the moment out of all the championship rivals, has to be said, is still Harley Haber.
And Haber, I wouldn't be surprised to see Haber in the next 3 laps, and he'll try and do something in regards to an alternate strategy. And saying that, he's started to close back up to Dean O'Brien again, so there is definitely some damage. That front splitter looks a little bit second-hand, but maybe just lost a bit of confidence for a lap, or tyres overheating and just cooled off a little bit. Back into it again. It's Filsell almost into the dirt under brakes. Brady Myers is doing a great job applying pressure here.
He is. He closed 2 tenths on that last lap, and Jared used all the track and a bit more there into turn number 2. He's now trying to use all of his road tacks here, trying to get the widest, I believe it's Holden, out of anybody in this field, and it is very, very telling at the moment the way that Phil Sell is driving. So the widest Holden against 2 of the most nimble Fords, and they're going to be going at it for probably the majority of this race. But now Jack Boyd comes under pressure, because here's Jordan Ross, and he is on an absolute tear after starting this one in 5th. He's managed to gather himself back up into 7th position, and he's looking for that next magical move, but ultimately nothing yet, as here comes Brady Myers down the inside of Jared Philsell, and he's going to lose out on the exit here as they make their way to 1.
Yeah, but he'll get the draft into 1. It's very, very tough to go side by side into 1, so he's going to have to be really ambitious. Late on the brakes, up through 2, not quite close enough. And you notice a different line there that Phil Sell's using.
Bumps
just
him.
able to maintain a little bit of more exit speed. But yeah, as you said, good bump as well from Brady, just to let Jared know that a little bit closer than he may realise at the moment.
Yes, and he's certainly making his presence felt here against the number 1 2-time V8 Scops champion, Jared Philsell. So now everyone's just got to sit up and work out, okay, where is it that we need to be at this stage right now? Because Philsell is clearly not the fastest driver in the field. Fastest driver that last time by, the man 3rd in the train, Jackson Suzlan Harlow. And often forgot about in terms of where his pace is. A lot of hype has gone around him. Nobody's seen what he is capable of doing just yet. But he is playing that patience card at the moment here at Oran Park. He's waiting for the right time to strike, and, well, who can blame him at the moment? Waiting for the time to strike is perfect and suits the MO of Suzlan Harlow, who is just hoping for a magical time to strike here on lap 17.
Window opens after this lap as well, so anytime from this next lap, should be able to make it home on fuel. So some drivers will be thinking about the undercut, especially if they think they're getting held up. They'll be trying to work out where they will come out on the circuit as well, because traffic is going to be a big factor into whether the undercut will work or not as well. We've seen how tough it is to pass here as Dean O'Brien runs very wide, and that means that Harley Havers slowly close that gap back up once again.
Yep, certainly has done. Dean O'Brien was trying to break away, but has ultimately found nothing of the sort in terms of racing action and trying to pull open a gap. Nothing has quite been there, and it has been very, very telling in the way that they've been battling. Also got some great battles going on a little bit further down the field. Sideways goes Jonathan Ben, trying to find a way past Tom Freer. He came from a long way back to try and make that move, but ultimately nothing coming of it. And now Luke Page is trying to get in on the act at the moment in the KRF car, and, well, for the moment, it seems that there is not much that Luke Page is able to do. He's got a massively graffitied up car, but he's not got anything that is cool or hip that's going to help him go through just yet.
He's had to come in and get into his spare car after that big incident we saw earlier in the race, so he's actually a lap down as well. So he's a long way off where he should be in regards to actual pace as he goes up the inside. We're just seeing our first pitter as well, Jamie McKnight. So Evolution Racing Team cars, as we said, look like they're struggling a little bit. McKnight's the one that's decided he's going to come in, get some damage fixed, get back out there and try and make some ground. You've got to worry about where he's going to be positioned when he comes out of the pits. But Harley Havers looking strong at this next phase of the race as well. As my English decides to stop working, you better take over again, Jake.
I might as well, but Haber is trying to get himself a chance on Dean O'Brien, and he's not quite there. Does anyone decide it's time? No, they don't at the front of this one, but all of a sudden, Phil Sell is maybe thinking about breaking away here. Well, that was exactly identical times to the 1,000th that last time by between Brady Myers and Jared Phil Sell. The gap, 7/10 of a second and a little bit more. So Phil Sell is trying to turn up the wick as here comes Haber looking for the inside, but he runs out of road at turn number 3 and will have to wait a little longer to try and make that happen. Gets a bit of a slide coming off of the exit of 3, and Dean O'Brien runs a little wide through 4, and now Haber up through over the bridge and now into the north side of the south side of the circuit. Is certainly trying to look like he is menacing with that LeBlanc in the mirrors. But I would say if that livery was a little bit more pink, I think he'd certainly be a lot more out there in terms of what he'd be able to do in terms of getting into the mind of Dean O'Brien.
I don't think he wants it to be any more pink. I think he wants to get rid of the pink because, of course, the pink livery is in-team punishment for contact between teammates in the early phase of the season. So Haber will be keen to get that livery off and get the new Redback Racing Team livery back on the car as Haber crosses the line. Only 0.2 of a second now separate he and Dean O'Brien. This is getting very, very tight. As guess who's the fastest man out on track now? Jared Filsell. He's pulled nearly a second on Brady Myers, and Jackson Susanalo is right there with Brady as well.
It's very clear that late stint pace is suiting Jared Filsell's MO at the moment. He's certainly got the car that works well as Harley Haber goes down the inside at 4 and takes the position. Now can Boyd snip one down the inside? No, so Dean O'Brien back to 5th place as this battle continues, and Haber gets a few more vital points as Jordan Ross gets sideways in a Scafie-esque moment, and he's able to save it, but my word, that could have ended in disaster for Jordan Ross.
We're implying that he was right out sideways then?
Left out.
Left out sideways, okay. That was a scary moment for Jordan Ross, though, because that's downhill, so the braking performance is very, very different to normal. So done a great job to make sure he's maintained speed and kept it on the track, and Andrew Gilliam's taken advantage of that. He's the fastest out of this group at the moment behind Haber. You can see the gap is closed, but these 5 are very, very tight right now. Filsell to Brady Myers is now out to 1.3 seconds, so Filsell starting to feel a little more comfortable.
Only driver to break the 105 barrier that last time by. That just tells you how Jared Filsell is finding himself a little bit of security in the way that he's driving. He is probably very consistently doing late 105s. In fact, he was only 0.002 different one lap to the next. So that just tells you how much Filsell is starting to push and starting to challenge drivers up and down this field. There's a vehicle spun, and that's Matthew Clowett, who was right in front there of Jared Filsell. So he was heading himself through turn number 9 out on track, loses it on the exit, tries to gather it up and noses it into the wall, and that is fencing, and that is Clowett out.
And one thing I'm surprised about, we're not far off half race distance, only, what, 6 laps away, and only been maybe 8 or 10 drivers jump into the pit, so most are going to try for the overcut as opposed to an undercut here by the looks of things. So I guess in the hot track conditions really played the hands for a lot of these drivers. But of course safety car could come at any time, so that could really throw a big curveball in this race.
It certainly could. Look at the times that Jamie McKnight's doing on fresh rubber. He's doing a 106.1, and in fact what's very telling is he's actually closing up to Michael Cracknell, who's closing up to this now 5-car train that is encroaching on, and that difference maker between 4th and 9th is 3 seconds at the moment out on track as Jack Boyd gets a great run on Dean O'Brien, who struggles, but ultimately he's left no room at all to snip down the inside. Confidence plus from Dean O'Brien there to make sure that he did not tag a certain Jack G. Boyd.
And Haber was so crossed up coming through the final corner as well. He just full speedway spec as we've got our first one to jump. Jordan Ross in the lane. Surprised there isn't more that have come in there. We'll see where Jordan Ross comes out as he's now stopped in his box, and we'll see where in the pack he comes out. Daniel Stevens also comes in. We'll see if Filsell comes in, but he's now pulled 2 seconds over Brady Myers and Jackson Susan Harlow. That gap has grown so much in the last little bit.
Wow, wow, wow. As Off of the jacks comes Jordan Ross, and he's looking to try and get himself out. It is a great stop, and he's now behind Gavin Cox out on track. So not bad at all, I wouldn't have thought there. And he's got a little bit of fresh air and can pick up the draft in a lap or two. So that's worked out quite nicely, actually, in that situation. He'll be very thankful for it. So Phil Sell, though, still leading. And does anyone else decide they want to maybe make a trip down onto the lane? No, not at the moment. So that much is very, very telling here on lap 24 of this one. And still great battling as Harley Haber's still got to deal with Dean O'Brien, who has been absolutely godly in the way that he's been making overtakes. He makes it look so difficult and so almost art-like in the way that he's been making moves. But both of these drivers have just managed to pull a little bit of a gap at the moment here, Jay, over Andrew Gilliam. And what is very telling, actually, about Andrew Gilliam's vehicle right now, as I look at it, there is an exposed panel on the left front of his vehicle, and I think that pursuit car does not look the best in the world.
No, he'll be down a little bit on speed, but of course, straight line speed isn't a huge thing. Oh, have a look how aggressive he's up through the flip-flop there. So Boyd also looking really strong, and O'Brien now with a run on Haber. But yeah, that panel may be costing him a little bit of speed down the front straight, but it shouldn't be causing too much issues for the rest of the circuit, of course, unless there is steering damage, which there is a possibility with that panel being missing as O'Brien big lock up.
Oh, a massive lock up, but not quite able to make it happen. But just behind Gilliam, of course, is Cracknell starting to pull himself into this one, looking for 7th position if he can. So for the time being, Stokesy is running himself in deep on Mullen, but Mullen are not quite finding anything. They've dispatched Brian Borg and gone away. Kyle Stokes is in damage limitation mode, and Marlon McMullen is an important cog in that wheel to try and stay ahead of.
Yeah, definitely. If he can get ahead of McMullen, that's a big advantage for him in the championship. Of course, McMullen also in that top 7 fight we were talking about, that was separated by 100 points. So he'll want to try and get clear of McMullen and try and limit the amount of damage that his current low position is. I mean, he's still in the top 10, but low position for what you would consider a top driver. Top 10 is not where you'd want to be. You want to be getting top 5s and even higher.
You certainly do, and that's what Carl Stokes needs to start thinking about, and ultimately is not getting at this stage here on lap 26. Still no takers onto pit road. Are they waiting maybe for the caution? Let's also not forget as O'Brien runs very wide. It's a low fuel consumption circuit here at Oran Park. Down the inside goes Jack Boyd and comfortably picks up the move and gets it up the hill over Yokohama Bridge. So Dean O'Brien is going one way, and that's backwards. And I wonder if the OPR car probably has to pit very soon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the tyre wear is probably getting a little bit severe, and some of these guys now thinking with 31 laps to go and they cross the line, they'll probably split it up into 2, thinking the track temp being as high as it is, you limitate the amount of damage your tyres are going to have. Split it into equal parts and do it then, as Brady Myers decides no, that's not for him. He's coming in now. He'll have to do 31 on a fresh set of Dunlops.
In comes Haber, in comes Boyd, and Jack Boyd made a meal of pit road. He got very late on the brakes. He had to lock it up, and he almost nosed it into the outside wall because he'd locked the rear axle up, and that very nearly ended in absolutely totalitarian disaster.
Replay on screen of that too, and we'll see exactly how aggressive he was coming into the lane. And it is a really, really difficult pit lane, because not only do you turn from the racing line, but the actual speed limit line is really, really early in the box as well, so, or in the lane as well. So you've really got to be careful when you pull it up, as Kyle Stokes now so close to Marlon McMullen.
Yes, and that incredible closeness is going to be very much something to look at as Kyle Stokes tries to find himself a chance to get through. Still nothing though, as they've both made their way past Daniel Stevens, who is a little bit of lap traffic here on lap 27. In comes Jackson Suzlin Harlow though to make his stop 1 lap later. Dean O'Brien dives in, Gilliam stays out, But in as well is Michael Cracknell looking to make his stop. McMullen is followed by Stokes down onto the lane, and Brian Borg decides he's going to follow in the footsteps too. So very much in this lap traffic phase of the race, a lot of drivers are trying to find themselves a bit of space and get themselves down in on the lane. Someone who's not, though, race leader Jared Filsell, he's going to cover everyone off, and I think he's covered everybody off at this stage.
Yeah, but how good are his tyres going to be? And also, will he get caught out with the safety car as well? So that's going to be interesting to see. Brady Myers, where is he going to come out or come back out of this? He's going to absolutely blitz on by Jackson Susan Harlow. So that one lap advantage, have a look at the difference. Pit stop time's identical. The pit lane transition time's identical. He's gained 4 seconds.
Massive from Brady, and he has really ragged
Phil
on the vehicle over this one, and that is telling. And if it's 4 seconds a lap, then Filsell has to come in, because that gap was only at 2 seconds. So Filsell may be in a little bit of a spot of bother here, and it is very much a case of, can the ERT crews now get a magical pit stop in for Jared Filsell? Because we know that it was equal on the lane between the two TTL cars, and now Filsell's got to worry about this, because Brady is flying as they're side by side into one, and Zach Radat loses a position to a frustrated Darryl Hockey, who finally gets his position.
Filsell still stopped. Brady Myers on the front straight. Filsell still stopped. He's going to get absolutely sped on by. There goes Brady Myers. Filsell just leaving now. He's going to drop 2 or 3 spots here, Filsell. Out behind Jackson Susan Harlow. And, yeah, so we maintain third, effective third. Wow.
I think he was worrying about stalling the vehicle there, heading in out of pit road. He was very slow in the way that he exited that pit road, and that is going to be the next big game changer when it comes to those pit stops, Jay, because stalling the vehicle, you don't want to be fiddling around with the engine, trying to get it back working again before getting off and away.
Yeah, 100%. It's something that the drivers have never had to think about before, so changing a complete mindset for a stalling engine is something that is going to take a little bit of time for these drivers to get the hang of, as Brady Myers gets a little bit of traffic just ahead, and Jonathan Ben. It's, making sure that you don't stall the car is going to be such a critical thing when we see all of these races now that have pit stops in them. So you don't want to be that first one to stall it in your box.
There are a few drivers who have yet to come in. Zach Baker decides he's going to dive onto lane along with Adam Gardner. And Sam Spade now takes the lead, but he runs off into the gravel at turn number 2 and is going to be eaten up by Brady Myers, who is now looking to try and make a move for the race lead. Look at the difference, 106.8 from Brady Myers, 108.1 from Sam Spade. There is a gulf in class at the moment between the 251 and the 22, and Brady's just got to be patient here and bide his time. He's got the gap behind to his teammate Suzlan Harlow. He's going to look down to the inside. It's unconventional here. It is for position, and Spade's going to be forced to defend this one hard on the inside. He shouldn't be defending it, but he's going to run himself a little bit wide on the exit. Myers is going to pick up the run, and well, Brady still can't get anything going through the left and right, and this is what makes Oran Park frustrating.
Yep, this is where it's sometimes not the best idea to be the first guy in the pits, because you do get yourself caught out in drivers who are out of sequence. Whoa, that was close.
I thought there was contact. I thought there was contact there between them. I want to have a look at Brady Myers, see if there's anything on the front. There's a little bit of damage now to the front right, and I think Brady Myers there could very easily be in trouble now for the rest of this event as the caution comes out. Oh my, Brady. He's now got to fend off the field with damage at the front for the remainder of the 27 laps.
We were on board there with Brady when we saw Spade come into the pits, so let's get another look at that, because that was intense. Brady Myers on board here. Have a look. See, all of a sudden the brakes come on. Oh, it was so close. I'm not sure if there was contact or not. It was so close. Scary nonetheless.
I thought there was. I definitely saw damage to the rear of Sam Spade's car. I definitely see damage to the front of Brady Myers' vehicle. I think they made contact, and very telling contact at that. So right now, you have to say Brady Myers is in control of this field at the front. But this is far from the end of things right now, as they're going to be stacked up behind the brand new iRacing Porsche first safety cars, Jay.
Ryan Jones, he's popped an engine coming into the pit lane.
Wow.
So he's less than ideal.
Well, that's a clutch job he's going to have to do at about 50k. He's trying to get himself through. Good news, it's downhill from where he is, and he's just got to make sure that he stops in his box properly, and I think that he just about managed to as he gets himself out and away again. Last thing you want to do is take a whole lap's toe because you overshot your box trying to get onto the lane.
So Brady Myers now clutching, saving a little bit of fuel, which no surprises that some of the drivers would have been really borderline on fuel to make sure that they gained every single possible advantage that they can.
Yeah, they have to. Absolutely, they have to. So Brady Myers leads this one from teammate Jackson Suzanne Harlow. Jared Filsell is third with Jordan Ross in fourth position. It's Dean O'Brien who's fifth after the pit stops, with Harley Haber in sixth. Jack Boyd seventh. Michael Cracknell's eighth. Andrew Gilliam is ninth. And Marlon McMullen rounds out the top 10. Your championship leader, Kyle Stokes, is 11th position at the moment, as Brady Myers will hold control of the field. But how much damage does he have? How much will that affect the Simworks TTL car? And how will this play a factor, especially when you've got Jackson Suzanne Harlow, who has yet to show his hand so far in 32 laps worth of racing, Jay, along with a two-time world champion who is desperate to show that he is still the best driver in the world.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting restart when we go green next time by, and we'll be really surprising to see, or interesting to see, I should say, how Jackson Suzanne Harlow and Jared Filsell go getting through traffic as well. So something we haven't really factored in, that there is traffic between Brady Myers and Suzanne Harlow. So Suzanne Harlow is going to have to get through traffic as well as defend that position from Filsell.
That is Jonathan Ben that he will have to get through, so that will give Brady Myers just a little bit of a reprieve at the moment, and it will give maybe just the gap that he needs to extend just a little bit more and get himself exactly what he wants, as we have seen a few retirements over the course of this one. Shane Evans, Brenton O'Brien, Matthew Clowett, and Mark Samuel as well. We have seen two more retirements, though, in the last couple of laps. Wayne Pengilly and also Matt Lepoidovin have found themselves out of this one. So we're down to 42, but it is worth saying at the moment that the lights are off on top of the iRacing Porsche first safety car, and we will be going green this time by.
And Brady Myers will control the field coming up through the second half of the course, and from around the flip-flop, I reckon that'll be where he'll decide to go. He'll give the safety car a little bit of room and go from there. And, try and get an advantage on Jackson Suzanne Harlow and Jared Filsell, because they have to manoeuvre past Jonathan Ben and then try and get the position themselves. So this is going to be really interesting to see how early Brady Myers goes here. I think he might go early.
Brady Myers won the last sprint race at Road Atlanta. He's looking to go back-to-back in sprint races. Of course, the big difference maker was Imola, which of course was won by David Sanford and Dane Warren. So for Brady Myers, he's going to have himself a few laps to hold on here at Oran Park, but he knows he's just got to count them off one lap at a time. Pace car will make its way around the final corner, and Brady Myers has been waiting very patiently here for that pace car to dive down onto the lane. So he's going to really stack it up and hold. Green flag goes, and they're going to jump straight away in a bit of confusion because the pace car wasn't off. And look at this. Filsell's going to push. They got to go defensive here. What's on the grass? And look at this. Haber's going to try and go around the outside. They're almost three wide into turn number one. 3 vehicles off, 4 vehicles off. And there goes Suzanne Harlow into the gravel trap. Haber now looks to fight for second position here with Jared Filsell. Filsell's there on the outside. It was pandemonium off the start. But now, look at this, Dean O'Brien going for third, and Filsell's still third.
No, Filsell's dropped back to fifth. That's Jordan Ross that's actually gone through.
Jordan Ross, my word!
So Jordan Ross was the car that we saw go into the grass in the front straight on the brakes. Filsell in the dirt on the brakes.
Wow, picked off after the restart. And now Jack Boyd wants to go in. Welcome to AOSC, Jared Filsell. You're not going to have a walk in the park. These boys know how to fight, and they've been fighting hard all race long. And that one, very interesting indeed. Jackson Suzlin-Harlow is now behind a certain Brian Borges. Down the inside goes Dean O'Brien on Jordan Ross. And can he get what he wants out of it? No, he doesn't have the straight line, I think, to make his way to one. And he's trying everything possible to get himself down that inside. And he's going to hold it through one. Into two he goes. And on the brakes, it's a bit of a push to pass. And he shoves Ross out to dry. Here comes Phil Sell looking for the move. And Jack Boyd on the outside. Boyd's going to struggle with it. But there is Phil Sell trying to be opportunistic on Dean O'Brien. He's got the outside for four, but that won't work.
No, but he might be able to cross back. No, not quite close enough. So good defensive bit of driving there from Dean O'Brien. But contact between he and Jordan Ross could have caused damage to both cars. Interesting too, I was looking to see if any of the drivers may have got black flags for passing before the safety car had entered the pits, but it looks like everyone somehow has got through that okay.
They have, because the green flag came out, and once the green flag's out, that's it. It's all clean racing. Dean O'Brien for one performance, trying to make a name here against Jared Filso, who thought about the inside there into the final corner, but decides better against it at the moment, as there is great scrapping going on. Suzlin-Harlow's through on Brian Borg. Next up for him is going to be very, very telling. Kyle Stokes, Marlon McMullen, Andrew Gilliam and co, as Phil Sell now maybe thinks about looking down to the inside. Oh, it's a late call, and he's going to get it slowed up, is he? Yes, he is, and that's up into third then from Phil Sell. That was brave there from Phil Sell. You don't become a champion without making moves like that. There tries Jordan Ross, and he's not quite got the angle to follow in the footsteps of his new leader.
Yeah, great job from Phil Sell to get through. We also saw Kyle Stokes look up the inside of Marlon McMullen, and now he's actually given up a bit of room to Jackson Suzlin-Harlow. Oh, there's contact coming through the bridge, and they're still side by side. This does not work. How can you go side by side there? As we've got a car around in the background. But big hit!
More contact. Wow, and that's going to have to be a slowdown. And look at this. This is allowing Brian Borg a chance to try and make a way through, and he's not going to quite find the chance. Suzlin-Harlow is clutching at straws. Championship leader is not budging an inch here, and Suzlin-Harlow knows it here at this stage. So JSH has got to find a way to make the move, and can he think of a way to make it happen? Hard defense coming in from Kyle Stokes, the championship leader, and nothing just yet is giving him that chance. Big up and under coming in, and he's going to be late on the brakes, and just about contact. Suzlin-Harlow's hard into the tyres.
Yep, Suzlin-Harlow probably left a little bit too little room there for Kyle Stokes, and Stokes definitely was able to defend that on the circuit, so no surprise that he defended that position as hard as he did. As we go to a LeBlanc replay, have a look at that again, because there was fairly heavy contact there, and Suzlin-Harlow will be struggling to get it back around the circuit now. Oh,
he is, and well, you can see just trying to pull it together. Oh, it was contact, and bang, hard into the tyres, and there's nothing you can do there. Look live, though, because here's Jared Filso. He's all over Harley Haber right now in the battle for second. He's wasted little time in getting himself back in. Jared mode is engaged, and there's not much you can do when the phenom of Australian sim racing decides he wants to make overtakes, because that's down to the inside, and Haber gave a lot of room there, deciding, you know what, that's not worth my time unless I can pick a run-up off the exit. He can't. Filso now has 2.3 to catch Brady Myers in the 22.
Suzlin-Harlow in the pits to get damage fixed, so huge damage from him. I'm wondering if Haber's decided just to tuck him behind, knowing that Phil Sell's quicker, use the draft, maybe save a bit of fuel if he does need to save some fuel, or whether it's just the damage and he's got nothing left.
No, I think it's the damage, and he's got nothing left here, because it is so telling the difference maker that Phil Sell's got. He's managed to pull out already half a second on this lap, and there's nothing that young Harley Haber is able to do with the damage that he's got. He's now going to become the cork in the proverbial bottle. There's Dean O'Brien, Jordan Ross, Jack Boyd, and Michael Cracknell having a big sideways moment heading up through the flip-flop S's section, and this is all just checking itself up, as it is fully Brady Myers who leads this one at the front of the field, just for the moment. And now they're going to start thinking about, okay, this is lap 39 and 57. Glance out moment from Dean O'Brien, who gets down the inside and almost takes the position. Jordan Ross careens into the back of him, and they're all starting to get a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of impatience starting to kick in here. They're all starting to check up behind Harley Haber, so definitely down on paces. Haber very, very slow in comparison to all of these guys last lap by 1 full second slower than Myers, Philsell, O'Brien, Ross, Boyd and Cracknell last lap by. So Harley Haber definitely struggling for pace, and that's going to mean that the likes of O'Brien, Ross and Boyd are going to want to try and get through as quick as they can.
They are wanting to try and get through as quickly as they can, and nothing is really working, because look at this. Andrew Gilliam now is on the rear of this train, and all of them are trying to just hope that there's a way through. This is the battle for the final position on the podium, mind you, and it's going to take a very solid drive from all of these lot to see who's going to get that one position, and anyone who makes a mistake is effectively out of the top 10, which is currently being held by Kyle Stokes at the moment. So they've got to be really careful about what they do as Tony Gaffer goes off as lap traffic trying to save positions. And now look at Jordan Ross starting to think about, where do I attack? Dean O'Brien's got not much place to go as down the inside room is given, but now it's about the next 3 corners. Next 2 corners now are all favouring Jordan Ross on that inside, and Dean O'Brien's going to have to yield at some point, and he chooses now. Boyd's trying to find the inside, but he has to back out of it, heading into the long right of 6.
Yeah, good job from Jordan Ross to get through, but what that's done, it's enabled Haber to get a little bit of a buffer. But Jack Boyd looks the most likely to get moves done here. Look at how aggressive he is going through the S.
Wow, he's really pushing the boat out, trying to make that move, and he's not finding anything at the moment, which is saying, I can make that move and I can get by. And maybe looking here off the final corner, doesn't get the run. He had a run, but he had to check up on it, because so slow off the exit was Dean O'Brien in the 96-1 performance racing car. He won't have that run now into turn number 1 unless he is a very, very brave boy, and I don't think he is on the brakes into the left-hander. But Cracknell tried, and he's not going to find anything for his troubles at the moment, so that one's very telling. Also telling, gap closed down 2.5 tenths that last time by from Jared Philsell. It's now 2.2 as Boyd again looks to attack.
Yeah, last lap by, Philsell looking really strong now. He was the fastest car out on track. Boyd, O'Brien's using a really strange line through that section there. It just opens the door, and I think someone might see that as him leaving the door open for someone to make a move, and he could find himself in a little bit of trouble. Get someone absolutely taking him out. So Dean O'Brien need to be careful of that. But have a look at the run that Boyd's got here. Just isn't able to use it. If he can maintain the speed, might be able to dive up the inside of the final corner.
Well, he can try and try and try, but he's not finding anything that's helping him right now as Jordan Ross starts thinking about, look, Harley, it's time your stint on the podium ends prematurely. Lap 42 of 57, 16 laps to go here at Oran Park Raceway, and nothing into turn number 2 just yet as they get nice and tight on the brakes, but still nothing at the moment. And you could arguably say that anyone all the way back to James Scott has a chance of a top 10 as David Nanadic runs a little bit wide in 15th, and this is opening the door to James Scott, just 14 seconds off as just in front. Big sideways moment from Stephen Varga, desperate to find a way past Danny Williams, and he's not finding anything.
David Taliancic as well is looking very, very strong in 12th position. He's closing up on Brian Borg as well, but Jordan Ross, here he is right on the tail of the Redback Racing Team car of Harley Haber, ready to get a move done as soon as he can. These ERT cars look completely different to how they did in that first stint. They look like they're completely different cars now.
I think they've worked out what to do with the tyre pressures. I think they've adjusted that setup well enough in their last little pit stop window, and it's bringing them back in. Gap at the front is down under 2 seconds at the moment, and Harley Haber now is seeing Jordan Ross thinking about being aggressive into 1, and again nothing forthcoming as once more the train decides it's going to run around for another lap here at Oran Park, the now new the new housing estate that it is in the real world, and it holds so many in the Sydney district, but for the moment at least here in Naraland, it's going to be a case for Jordan Ross of I can't get by a damaged Harley Haber. It reminds you so much of Daniel Ricciardo at Monaco. I can't get past an engine suffering Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah,
it's just such a tough track to pass at the best of times. Having a car that's a little bit off pace at the wrong spots just absolutely breaks your heart when you're out on track. So Jordan Ross will know that he's got the pace to stay with Phil Sell, or at least closely match Phil Sell. But Haber just is quick enough at the right spots, but holding him up at everywhere that he's able to gain time on the other cars ahead.
Not anymore, maybe, because here's Jordan Ross. He's tucked up under a tent. Look at the defense, though, from Harley Haber. He covered everything off there, and that's how much this podium means to him. He will fight hammer, tooth, and nail for everything that he can get his hands on, and this is what Jordan Ross has to be careful of. How aggressive will Harley Haber be on the defense? Because yes, both of them are fighting for this championship. Neither of them can afford to take the other out.
Yeah, that'll be playing in the back of these guys' minds, because they know that they'll want to win this championship. It's championships that they are well and truly in with a serious shot of winning. Of course, Kyle Stokes leading the championship, but Jordan Ross is so close, so he'll want to make sure that he capitalises. If he does try and make a move, he needs to make it work, because if he gets a mistake or makes a mistake, that could compromise any of that advantage he's got at the moment over Kyle Stokes in this championship fight.
But another great run coming out to the final corner, and this may just be the time. He's looking to angle to the inside again. Nothing just yet. Haber is immediately defensive, and he's got to go a long way around. Bit of contact between them there as they head through one, and Harley Haber's got to try and check it up on the apex, and he does very well. Now he's got to be careful about three here, and he's late to the dance, but Ross is going to come down to the inside to try and make it happen. He struggled to make that work. Bump on the exit then as they run to four, and Haber survives for another lap.
Job from Haber to hold on to that position, because Jordan Ross looks so much stronger. These guys have given 5.5 seconds to Jared Filsell now, who's got that gap down to 1.3. So won't be too long before we see Jared Filsell right on the tail of Brady Myers. But Harley Haber, he is absolutely holding this group up now and doing a great job of defending this position.
He is, and I tell you what, if he's looking to try and get himself back into V8 Scops anytime soon, this is the sort of drive that would tell you, okay, this is the sort of character and the sort of defending that is needed in a series like this. Again, here will come Jordan Ross looking for a chance to go through. If he can't do it, Dean O'Brien will try and pounce, as will the rest of the group as they get on the brakes. Gap at the front down to just a second now for Jared Filsell. Brady Myers is struggling as Haber again holds off position, but Ross gets a great run and now has to go the long way round to make it happen at 3, and is not going to make that happen as Dean O'Brien almost runs into the rear. You don't know where to look, and all of a sudden, look at Jared Filsell, because now the two-time champion has Brady in his sights.
It's down to 0.7 of a second in closing, so watch out in the next lap. Filsell will be right on the tail of Brady Myers, and how mature can Brady Myers be in this drive to hold on for another 11 laps? This is going to be a telling moment in the career of Brady Myers.
It is, and Filsell with the bit between his teeth and probably his missus shouting in his ears as well. He'll be trying everything to try and pull himself in and make a move on Brady Myers. But look again to the train of 6, what I would call the cha-cha line of Haber at the moment, because there is no way that anyone is going to make a way through, and they're allowing Marlon McMullen and Kyle Stokes onto the rear of this as well. Bingo for Kyle Stokes. Jordan Ross gets very wide, trying to angle to the inside, and he's still not able to find anything. Haber's fantastic at the moment.
Yeah, he's great under brakes. Harley Haber, have a look at it. It's on for the lead. We said it would probably be another lap. Well, it exactly was a lap, because Filsell now right on the rear of Brady Myers. Have to get away from that other big train, because it's on for the lead well and truly.
It is well and truly on for the lead. So what can Jared Filsell do against Brady Myers, who, let's not forget here over the course of this, does have the damage, or did have the damage, but is able to now run a good line. Filsell is swarming alongside like a wasp, trying to find a way through. How's the run off the exit? decent from Brady, but a lot more narrow coming off of that exit. Now Phil Sell's got a chance here. Will there be that respect? No, it's defended at the moment by Brady Myers with 10 laps to go here at Oran Park, and Phil Sell trying the outside is not going to find it just yet. Trying to angle to that inside, nothing for the moment, and still nothing in the train behind. To the outside of 3 tries Phil Sell, and again nothing, blocked firmly by Brady Myers, who says, no, you've got nowhere to go down the inside. Phil Sell doors Brady Myers, and I think there'll be a redress there of that one, and there will be, so Brady will retain the race lead. Phil Sell says, that wasn't fair. I want to do this the right way.
Yep, good job from Phil Sell to redress that. He'll go again, but we know that the pace he's got, he will definitely be able to close that gap down very, very quickly. You can see in the background, that's given the guys in that secondary pack a little bit more to fight for, because now they can see the leaders once again. So Jordan Ross will probably get a little bit of an urge to try and get this done a little quicker. Gap now between Haber and Phil Sell down to 3 seconds. So these guys are still in with a shot if something happens between Brady Myers and Jared Phil Sell once again.
Well, it could so very easily happen, and Phil Sell knows that it could easily happen. So does Brady Myers, who now knows that that's where we stand. I might just defend a little bit harder as he locks up all wheels going into turn number 1. No issues at all. Haber starts to run a little bit deep, and there's a bump again from Jordan Ross as he tries to find a way through. Again, defended hard. Both of them looking to the inside, and that was Jordan Ross trying to be very desperate. Dean O'Brien runs out of road, and they get a concertina effect going. Here's Andrew Gilliam looking to the inside of Michael Cracknell. What are you going to do about this in the Zuva car? Not much at all, because Gilliam has found a way through, and oh my goodness, that was right next to each other there as Gilliam holds on.
Wow, Gilliam just come across a Cracknell, and Cracknell thought, I'm going to come back across as well. There was just nothing between those two guys. Great driving, great respect, a little bump back through. But well done from Michael Cracknell and Andrew Gilliam holding on there. So Gilliam up into 7th position. Kyle Stokes, have a look at how close it was. Cracknell almost made contact into the rear of Gilliam again. Kyle Stokes has closed right up on the rear of Marlon McMullen, but guess who's back on the rear of Brady Myers? Jared Phil Sell's there again.
7 laps to go. Next time they cross the line, it's 8 to go at the moment. Brady Myers has a long 8 laps at Oran Park to hold off against Jared Phil Sell. Jared Phil Sell, who won both races in V8 Scops last year here. So that's just how good he was on the brakes, and it's defended by Brady Myers as they go up the hill looking at the Yokohama Bridge. Nothing for Phil Sell, who's all over the back of that Ford and hoping there's something. Same for Jordan Ross here, trying to get past Haber. Shot given by Phil Sell, heading through 7 and 8 and into 9, the left-hander, and still it's about Phil Sell waiting for the chance that should happen this lap.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it happen into turns 1 and 2 this time. Just got to get the run out of this corner right, but Brady's doing a great job of just checking up in the apex so that Phil Sell can't get that run, but I think it might be too little too late. So over goes Myers defending again. He might be able to hold on for one more. Oh, so close to the wall there was Phil Sell. May have clipped it.
I think he did. There was a few sparks here and there, and now look at this, trying the outside. Can he still hold the overlap? He can, and Brady Myers can't defend that down the inside. He's got to choke him on the apex, and he gives him just a little bit of room. They slide it through turn number 3, now heading to 4. Phil Sell's got the drive, and suddenly Brady Myers is thinking, well, what can I do? Still holding the outsides. They head through 4 and 5, and now up the hill over the bridge into 6, still holding the outside. This is brilliant from Brady, trying to hold off Phil Sell, and now at 7 and 8 he'll have the inside. Brady Myers, they spend half a lap side by side, and they're trying everything here together, still going at it too wide, and they're coming to the flip-flop section, the lefts and rights, and Phil Sell's on the outside, and Brady Myers survives just for the moment. Contact between them, and they're still too wide.
Amazing driving in the background. We've had a massive incident. We'll get a replay of that soon, but Harley Haber and Dean O'Brien both... Oh no! Brady Myers, big hit, and Phil Sell gets through. Brady tried to run Phil Sell out of room there, and Phil Sell gets through into the lead, but there's been a huge incident back in the field on the previous lap. We're going to have a look at a few things right now.
Let's get the LeBlanc replay then up on your screen. This is what has happened over an amazing lap's worth of racing. And, well, just check this out then. Side by side, no room given. Almost forcing Phil Sell into pit. But Brady Myers left a gap. Bit of contact. Myers ultimately pays the price for being too aggressive. But let's go back to Harley Haber and exactly what happened here, because they head through turn number 1. Dean O'Brien went for the Uber move, and I believe it was actually a certain one driver there of Jordan Ross who was so aggressive down the inside. He let frustrations get the better of him, and then Harley Haber just dropped a position there over a little bit, and I think there's a secondary incident that goes on. So Haber looks down to the inside. He just loses it all on his own. He tags O'Brien, and they all go 6 and 7. Haber goes around with O'Brien again. I'm not sure that's retaliatory potentially or not, but ultimately, this is how it looks now. Phil Sell leads. Myers is in second. Jack Boyd has snuck away into third, and talk about championship contenders. Jack Boyd has just opened himself up as one of the main ones as Myers misses his braking point, locks up through 2, and there's big drama in the background. That's Gilliam and Cracknell who have come together at 2.
Yep, and also as well, just hearing too that Harley Haber has actually been disqualified for hitting the incident limit as well, so that's huge for Harley Haber. He was going along so well, he's now out of the race, and I can just see on my timing screen that that is confirmed. So we're just going to get another look at this for Andrew Gilliam and Michael Cracknell. These two guys, they've been going at it all race, so unfortunate for these two to have this end in contact. It's a little mistake from Cracknell, and he'll be feeling terrible about that. That's not the way that Crackers would like to have got that done.
No, it's not, and he's now under all sorts of pressure from Brian Borg, who's trying to find a way through. And talk about drivers who have profited off of situations. Kyle Stokes is now into 6th position, I do believe, here in this race, and that tells you all you need to know. Brady Myers is under so much pressure here in the final 5 laps of this event. Now the final 4. Look at where Jack Boyd is. If he can snipe 2nd position, the gap 8/10, that's huge for the championship and for Jack Boyd. Again, massive lockup coming in from Brady Myers, and all of a sudden, this race is now on a knife edge for so many reasons.
And one thing I've just noticed too on the timing sheets, Brady Myers' lap times are not counting, so that means he's got a black flag. That means he's got a meatball. Means he's going to have to come to the pits.
Yeah, he's not got enough time to run that flag out by 4 laps, which is the maximum amount of time you have in any series that you race. So Brady Myers could be in all sorts of issues and may have to come down for a effective splash and dash, as it were, to finish this event. So Jack Boyd, all of a sudden, is starting to see a little smile develop on his face. We'll see if this one works out in favour here of the 38 on the brakes, final corner. What does Brady Myers have? At the moment, not much, and this is the most deceptive pit entry that there is. He stays out once again. Is there a lap time set this time? There is not. So there is, actually.
No, there's
sorry.
not. No, there's not.
No, there isn't.
No.
So here comes Jack Boyd. He's looking to the inside. Brady is so slow right now, heading through turn number 1. He's clearly dealing with some steering angle damage or something. Here will come Boyd at the chance through 3, and he's defending it all the way. Here is Brady Myers. I think he's going to run himself out of laps.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's just going to try and hold on and see if he's got enough time. So, is it 4 complete laps? Because
4 complete laps.
He might nearly make it home, but yeah, there's the position gone. Myers could not hold on. Jordan Ross now will be trying to take advantage. So Jack Boyd into position number 2.
And who predicted that? The man 6th in the championship, 1,103 points. Started today, 182 behind Kyle Stokes, and he will gain a fair few as he gets 2nd position over Stokes, who's in 6th position right now, trying to get past McMullen, which could be a top 5, which seemed the most unlikeliest result of anything right now as things look, as Myers does not dive down onto the lane. Now with 2 laps to go here at Oran Park, here down to the inside comes Mr. Jordan Ross, and he will pick up a position, and a big position in 3rd as well. He started today definitely a lot less in terms of points compared to Jack Boyd behind. He was 2nd in the championship. He was only 66 points back, and he needs every position he can get. He's hoping Brady Myers holds off McMullen and Stokes between now and the end of this event here, Jay, and there's not much time remaining.
No, exactly right. I think that you'd be hoping that Brady Myers, if he does get disqualified He'll at least open that gap up enough so that there's no potential move coming through. Jordan Ross third. Yeah, hoping that Kyle Stokes stays where he is, but Cracknell as well has come back very, very strong. Close that gap up really quickly to Stokes. So Stokes going from the attacker to the defender right now.
Oh, but look at this. Here's Marlon McMullen. He has to go to the outside if he wants to make this work on Brady Myers. He's struggling so much through the final corner. This is just going to open everybody up to a chance. The white flag comes out for Jared Filsell, who has not had the easiest race by any stretch of the imagination. Here comes McMullen. Hard down to the inside. He's going to pick it up, and Myers is just going to let everybody go there with the damage that he's got, and I don't blame him as he locks up the brakes, and McMullen locks up, and here comes Cracknell down the inside. That's going to be a big one there. And he's going to try and take 2 for 1 at the supermarket, is he? As he looks to the outside here. And now Myers is going to come straight back here on Kyle Stokes, who was not expecting that. Still a battle. McMullen trying to get down to the inside, and he does get that. And there's a shot given, and this is allowing the chance here for Kyle Stokes to nick away through. Down the inside he goes at turn number 6. Can he get the position sorted? For the moment, he's okay. Filsell, though, 2 corners away, is hoping for victory as Stokes still trying to hold it around the outside. And I think McMullen's just hit the instant limit. Sorry, no, but Cracknell's hit the instant limit. Here's Jared Filsell, though. Final corner, not plain sailing, but a victory nonetheless. Filsell wins in AOSC with a big, big result. Jack Boyd will get a massive second with Jordan Ross in third. And it will be Brady Myers also disqualified. So that'll be McMullen in fourth. Kyle Stokes will get a top 5 out of it with Brian Borg sixth. My goodness, I think that's the greatest race at Oran Park I've ever seen.
Wow, what a finish that was. That was just incredible. It's been so many amazing stories and so many hard luck stories all in one race, and it's still going on. Jackson Susan Harlow, of course, we had to see him come in for a second pit stop. Oh, he's just sent Scott Gamble across the circuit. Oh!
Wow. Big hit on Daryl Hockey, and well, he'll very much be playing hockey. He's trying to get himself uprighted, and a little bit of a tap there from Chris Kessie's not helped him. And I think he's going to say, come on, can I have some help, please? I'm so close. I'm on the final corner, and I'm not going to finish. And there's no cards left except maybe Simon Vella, who's gone by, along with Cameron Gall, and that will be that. So Daryl Hockey is done on his roof, and he was not happy all race long as everything's happened. And oh, my word, look at that. That's a horrible incident.
That's, I mean, we shouldn't really laugh, but after the way that race played out, it's been an amazing, entertaining night of racing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but as you said, that's one of the best races we've ever seen at Oran Park. Absolutely incredible.
Well, they call this place Simkhana Central now, with just how tight and twisty and winding it can be. But Jared Filsell picks up the victory in 2.5 seconds over Jack Boyd. It was a lot more on the final couple of laps. Jordan Ross will pick up a podium with Marlon McMullen up to 4th, and the championship leader Kyle Stokes gets a top 5 finish for his work. Brian Borg gets 6th with Michael Taliancic in 7th, with Daniel Williams finishing in 8th.
Then we've got Stephen Varga in 9th, with top 10 rounded out by James Scott, with Andrew Gilliam in 11th position. David Nednick in 12th position. Sam Spade finishes in 13th, with Mark Pickett 14th. Zach Baker 15th, and Guy Leach rounding out the top 16.
Greg Sharp finishes 17th with Jacob Knight in 18th position. Tom Freer up 36th to 19th overall, the biggest gainer, or one of the biggest gainers in the field, with Jackson Suzlan Harlow only managing 20th position. Christopher Kessie gains 22 positions in a quiet race over to 21st. Most of that due to issues with other drivers. 22nd went Scott Gamble, 23rd Simon Vella, and the first driver a lap down is classified as a disqualified Brady Myers.
It's only 23 on the lead lap in the end. Michael Cracknell and Daryl Hockey also 1 lap down, with Cameron Gall, Daniel Stevens, Adam Gardner, Tony Gaffer, Luke Page and Tyler Blackburn also all 1 lap down.
Ryan Jones ran himself into 33rd. Gavin Cox got things a little bit messy earlier on in this event. He gets 34th. Matthew Deere gets 35th, 2 laps down. And then those who did not finish the event, Dean O'Brien, 36th. Harley Haber, big hit for his championship hopes. Jonathan Benn in 38th. Jet Bennett, 39th. And Jamie McKnight in 40th.
And our last page of drivers, Stuart Coulter, Zach Radatz, Wayne Pengilly, Matt Lepoitovan, Mark Samuel, Matthew Clote, Brent O'Brien and Shane Evans, the last driver, did not complete a lap. What an amazing night of racing.
Oh my goodness. What a race that we have just seen. But let's just step aside for a moment here, because when we come back, the post-race coverage, the fallout from Oran Park, and this championship is so interesting and the racing is brilliant. AOSC is up to the max. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to AOSC coverage brought to you by West End Mazda. Very quiet commentary booth at the moment. Nobody deciding they want to turn up to get their big interview done. Jared Filsell gets a big race victory. But it has to be said, Jay, that is not a convincing race victory from Jared Filsell. He had to work for that one. He lost positions in the stop. He wasn't brilliant in the opening stage of that race. He lost positions. He didn't look comfortable at the front. He was challenged by Brady Myers. Question becomes, can he iron out those issues for next weekend and everything that's going to go on with a brilliant race that's going to happen when it comes to a V8 Scops round?
Yeah, V8 Scops in 2 weeks' time is going to be really, really interesting. And as you said, Filsell didn't look comfortable. Although he picked up the win, it was not convincing in the slightest. Longest pit stop, didn't get the fastest lap of the race, didn't maintain the lead anywhere near as much as we would think, struggled to get past Brady Myers, and race control's going to have a really busy week. I've always said that every time for the last, 4 or 5 weeks, but that race there, considering how much action we had from lap 1 over the Yokohama Bridge where the track was nearly blocked. Have fun, Nick. That's all I'm going to say to you, mate. You're going to have a busy week looking at that, but it's going to be really interesting next week as we head on to Mosport. Similar track in some aspects with the big long straight and then the flowing corners that all link in together. So drivers that did a good job here probably find themselves in a good stead for that track as well. Drivers that struggled here might find themselves in trouble next week as well.
They certainly could, but two big drives from Jack Boyd and Jordan Ross as well, Jay. How will they take that momentum, head over to Mosport, and actually apply that pressure to Kyle Stokes, who once again today showed that it's not about where you finish, it's about how consistent you are. Another top 5 that goes on. So we're just going to bring into the conversation here. Brady's in for interview right about now. Hopefully, if my Discord doesn't decide that it wants to freeze up on me, but it does decide that it wants to freeze up on me, as in he comes. Brady, it's disqualification in the end. We believe it's due to a meatball flag because you're well inside the instant limit point. What happened with a few laps to go?
Oh, just lost all spatial awareness on the last corner. Basically just lost all talent.
Well, you found yourself in control of this event in the second half. You were being chased down hand over fist by Jared Filsell. Did you have any damage after contact with Sam Spade heading towards, or coming towards the pit lane, which may have affected anything in your battle with Filsell?
Nah, no contact. I just didn't realize he was going to the pits, so it was lucky. It was a lucky escape there, but no damage. Just didn't have ultimate pace in the end, I think.
Well, maybe didn't have the pace, and maybe the championship may have just gone here at the circuit of Oran Park, but there is Mosport in a week's time, and how are you feeling about heading to another track which is all about gathering up for one big overtaking move?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Mosport. It hasn't been a good hunting ground for me in the past, but I feel like I've gotten, a bit more confidence, so we'll see how we go.
We will see indeed. Brady Myers then joining us from the Simworks TTL esports team. But Jay, to go back to my point, how big of a round has this been for not only Jack Boyd, not only for Jordan Ross, but actually for Kyle Stokes as well?
I unmute my microphone. Kyle Stokes will probably be the happiest man to come out of this. He was looking like he was going to be nowhere near the front of that field in regards to championship contention. So he could have dropped a large chunk of points. So he'll be happy to get away with a 5th in the end there. Probably didn't deserve it based on his pace. But as you said before, consistency was the big thing there. So for him to get away with the 5th, I think he'll be pretty happy. Jordan Ross to get a 3rd, I think he'll be over the moon with that. So he'll get the championship lead. But a few others as well in that championship fight who would probably be absolutely ruining the result in the end. The likes of Harley Haber, Michael Cracknell as well. He'll be disappointed in how that's finished in the end. Jackson Susan Harlow as well. He'll be disappointed to drop all the way back down the field as well. So there's a lot of guys that are in that fight or up near the pointy end that will be rather disappointed with how this has all gone. And those guys that did capitalise in the end, they'll be absolutely over the moon. But yeah, Jack Boyd as well. He'll be very, very impressed with, very pleased, I should say, with how that's turned out in the end for him.
And well, on that, we're going to call time here on this broadcast. And a massive thank you to everyone that's helped get this done, to the likes of West End Mazda and, of course, LeBlanc as well, who have been massive in the sponsoring of this series. And, of course, to Jay Kennedy, who's been joining me on cameras and on my right-hand side. I've been Jake Sperry, and Jared Filsell has proven once again that he is, without a doubt, the best driver when it comes to a V8 supercar. But by no means did he have it plain sailing. He's got a challenge when it comes to racing in V8 Scops very, very soon. But some great driving from Boyd, some great driving from Ross, and Kyle Stokes hitting the consistency factor. It means the championship is more alive than ever as we take things over to Canada. We'll see you in a week's time for more 150-kilometre racing action.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction, he's got everything else. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get involved.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?